So again, Democrats did better in the midterm election than most people thought. But you know, hindsight's always 20/20, right? So you go back and you look at stuff and you go, oh, so this actually matters now. So there actually is some sanity and some reason, at least among the majority of the voting population. So here's what Steven Crowder, huge right-wing YouTuber, huge. I mean, he's fringe in terms of his ideology, but in terms of his appeal, in terms of his numbers, he's huge. He's a big player in, you know, right-wing politics and commentary. Here's what he was saying in the days leading up to this midterm election. This is the kind of stuff that you're going to lose every moderate, you're going to lose every independent, you're going to lose every single normie. And everybody who's not already in your cult is going to look at you like, what the fuck, son? Listen to this.
Just so you know, we didn't always pull off a peaceful transfer of power. You talked about us. We actually, as a nation, became a nation because we pulled off the completely unpeaceful transformation of power.
Yes. You no longer have power over us, transfer of
yes,
power.
Exactly. The King of England. We were like, yeah, how about, suck this transfer of power, huh? Oh, there goes your tea. So sorry. Sorry about your tetleys.
Oh. Well, and then, like you said, that whole North versus South end of slavery thing.
Yeah.
That whole peaceful.
Right, exactly. That very peaceful transfer of power.
Cannons at each other from 18 feet away. Peaceful.
So because we had a revolutionary war and a civil war, therefore, every 2 years, every 4 years, fuck the peaceful transition of power. Let's do a violent transition. Let's do a rebellion. What do you want, a war every 2 years, or every 5 years? Or every 4 years, excuse me? Is that what you want? You want violence in the streets? These are the same people who melted down over the BLM riots. Right? Oh, this is so bad because Denny's had some windows smashed. Oh, the horror. But now they're like, oh, peaceful transition of power, my ass cheeks. If we lose, then I want to not accept that. That's what they're arguing. That's at the core of what they're arguing here. If we don't do well, we're just going to say it's rigged, and we're going to try to get it overturned. And by the way, there's a whole bunch of stories floating around now about how Republicans they're doing 3 times more lawsuits to throw out ballots than they did in 2020. So you want to talk about the real election rigging? It's voter suppression. It's what Ron DeSantis did with that PR stunt in Florida where he said, he arrested people who were legally allowed to vote and said, you're not legally allowed to vote, and actually it's a felony. You know, it's trying to throw out ballots because of maybe the date on the ballot is wrong, even though it was turned in on the right day. The paperwork isn't exactly right. Hey, this was quote unquote ballot harvesting, which just means that like old disabled people give their ballot to somebody who then takes multiple ballots for them to the ballot box. Like, oh, we got to stop that, right? So this is what they mean. They mean like, by any means necessary, we want to win, and we will win. Now, let me ask you a question. Would they be talking like this if the roles were reversed? So, if Republicans won, would they be saying the same thing? Like, oh yeah, it's totally legit for Democrats to now get violent and say, we believe in rebellion, we don't believe in the peaceful transition of power. Of course not! Of course not! They'd be saying they're fucking terrorists for questioning the results. Are you kidding me?
Exchange.
Still missed.
So, again, peaceful transfer, and I'm not suggesting any kind of violent upheaval over the election. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Yes, you are. I mean, you'd exhaust every quote-unquote legal attempt first, right? Like, I'm sure he supported Trump's 62 lawsuits over the 2020 election. But fundamentally, if it fails, we know what you want. It's not that hard to figure out.
But the idea that the peaceful transfer of power is inherently our most valued tradition, it's not. Our original tradition is rebellion, is violent rebellion. That's why you have the Second Amendment. You may not like it, but that is
not why you have the Second Amendment. That is not the reason for the Second Amendment. Yeah, a couple dudes in Arkansas with Ruger 22s are going to take on the most powerful military in human history, who have fighter jets, who have tanks, who have chemical weapons, who have nuclear weapons. That's not the reason for the Second Amendment. That's not. Go read the history of the Second Amendment. Go read the debates that the founders were having over the Second Amendment. It's about standing armies, and it's about slave patrols. That was the idea.
The history of our country, unlike Canada, unlike not only countries, in the UK, but also their colonies, by the way. They have a slavery basis with a lot of these countries. Ours is fighting off the world's greatest superpower to become the world's greatest superpower the next century. Never been done before or since. It's never happened.
Okay, so again, because the Revolutionary War happened and the Civil War happened, therefore, fuck the peaceful transfer of power. Well, look, again, thank you for saying it. Thank you for being upfront. Basically, Republicans were testing the limits of the American people. How much extremism will people accept? You know, how much will people overlook? And the answer was they hit their limit. Americans hit their limit. They did. This was supposed to be Republicans should have picked up 40 seats, 60 seats. It should have been a red wave like 2010. It wasn't even close to that. They should have 54 seats in the Senate. Best case scenario, they'll maybe get 51, but it looks more like 50 or 49, right? So thank you, Steven Crowder, for letting your freak flag fly, letting everybody know, like, this is a mainstream Republican voice. He's like, violent revolution? Rebellion? Yeah, that sounds good. If I lose, that sounds good. It's genuinely childish and deeply, deeply authoritarian. That goes without saying. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. This was a fun post-election show. Everybody, click the like button, click the subscribe button, leave a comment, click that bell notification thing so that you know every time a video drops. I'd really appreciate that. Trying to get to 1 million subsies. Trying to get there. Very difficult. Long climb up Mount Everest. Don't know if we'll ever get there. We'll see. Algorithm's not very kind to your boy. But thank you for subbing if you already have. And thank you to all the Patreon supporters of the show. If you'd like to support the show, links in the video description box. If you just throw your boy $2 a month, it makes a big difference. We never had a conversation ever with an advertiser with over a decade of doing this show. I'm very proud of that fact. You know, I click a Ben Shapiro video and it's like every fucking 3 minutes there's an ad and it's like, thankfully I'm not that. I never want to be that. So anyway, and shout out to all the people on Substack who support Crystal Kyle and Friends. Of course, the perk to that is you get the video early, and everybody else listens to the audio. You get the video and you get it a day early if you're a member on Substack for Crystal Kyle and Friends, and you get the newsletters as well. Anyway, that's all, guys. I love you very much. Have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.